told you before about times I was a stupid kid trying to get attention of a girl or just trying to calm my parents into buying me something Star Wars related. Well, I'm back again with another story for you. Welcome back to the junk room. I'm coming back at you with another video, and I've got another story video for you about one time I embarrassed myself, and it does have a Indiana Jones spin to it, so don't click off if you're an Indiana Jones fan or just a fan about hearing how I was a dork as a kid. Now, usually I tell stories about elementary school, you know, when I was after this girl named Amy, or trying to calm my parents into buying me the latest Star Wars toy. Well, this one's more middle school, or some of you may say junior high. I always hear that on television, but I never heard it in real life. It's like I never saw a nurse at a school, but it was always on TV where they had a nurse at school. I never got that. I didn't even know what a guidance counselor was until I started watching movies about high school. But anyway, there I was, probably, I'm going to say 13, somewhere in that ball field, 12, 13, 14. Probably not 14 yet, but 13 sounds about right. So I was at the school one day, and we were at lunch. That's usually where we all hung out now. I wasn't a popular kid at school, but I wasn't unpopular. You know, no Hollywood myth. I never had like cliques in my schools where the jocks and the nerds and all that separated. I went to school that was, at least when I went to public school, that was about 95% black students. And all the white people knew each other. So at lunchtime, all the white people hung out together, you know. Just how it is. And if a lot of black people knew you, then you were extra cool. But all the white people were going to know because there wasn't many of us. So we all hung out. And I can remember being at lunch, and there was my friend, Wooten Wootberry, but I call him Woot for short. Wooten Wootberry was over there, and a couple others. I had another friend named Leonard, and there was this new girl in school. Had to be about our same age, and she was not really exactly where she was from, but she looked, to me, at least my eyes at that age, Asian. So, you know, she might have been Japanese, I'm not really sure. Could have been Korean, could have been Vietnamese, I'm not really sure. But she was something in around that look. And, did the boys all love her. Now, if I'm right, this was right around the time we were still really into Rambo 2. You know, Rambo had a Vietnamese girlfriend, so we were all like, oh, that's cool. We've never actually seen one before. I know it sounds odd to say, but hey, we're a small southern school here, so, you know, to us it was something, whoa. She found out she was an exchange student. And what's weird is the family she was living with, I've never seen them in our school either. I don't know if she went to live with this family and they were in private school and they could afford 2 private schools, so they both, but anyway, she was there with the girl she lived with, was about her same age. And it's odd, I don't remember either one of these girls' names, but this girl was just a average blonde-haired girl. Never really paid attention to her before. I think I did see her, you know, she was new to the school, but she wasn't as new as this foreign exchange student. So she'd been there a couple of weeks, and I'm going to be honest with you. Everybody in school had a crush on this foreign exchange student. I mean, everybody. White, black, Puerto Rican, it didn't matter what it was. Everybody was in love with this girl. And me, well, I was crazy in crush heaven with the girl that she lived with, the blonde-headed girl. I think she was blonde. Yeah, she's a blonde-headed girl. To me, she looked kind of like Winnie Cooper mixed with an 80s Madonna, if you can picture that. But anyway, you know, they lived near me, so everybody was always going to their house trying to get in good with the exchange student, and, you know, trying to look cool and everything. And I would go up there. I remember my friend Wooten, he said, hey, that's right, you know, she lives right the road, let's ride up there. And in my mind, I'm thinking, I get to say, I'm going to call this girl Samantha, because I think that's her name, I'm not really sure, the blonde-headed girl. So I said, okay, I'm going to ride up there with you too. And while they're hitting on her, you know, I'll be the guy hitting on this girl. No one else is paying her attention. She's cute and everything, but, you know, she's different. You know, I can understand the one girl was different, so everybody was trying, you know, impress her. But when she's getting all the attention, I'll be over here getting all the attention, right? Smart move, right? How could it fail? Well, go to her house every now and then, probably about once a week. I remember me and my friend Abel had this broken motorcycle that was horrible. The only way you could start if you had a big hill and you got on it and pushed it down the hill, and it would automatically start going down the hill, but it was horrible. We were trying to impress her, like, look at us, we ride motorcycles, but this thing was a piece of crap. It didn't impress anybody, I'm sure. So a few days later, I got word that they both watched Temple of Doom. That's right, Temple of Doom. And I heard of the blonde-headed girl, Samantha, really liked the movie. And I said, well, here's my chance to impress her. Because I had the Indiana Jones hat. I was an Indiana Jones fan. So I knew a couple days later we were all going to meet out in the woods. We had woods behind my house where it had a little creek, and we could always find this nice vine to swing across. We had this big gully. It seemed like it was really deep to me, but I mean, it was pretty high up. It was pretty, I mean, it wasn't going to kill you. It wasn't the Grand Canyon, but it was pretty high up. And we would all meet around this area every weekend, every once in a while, joke around about school, complain about school, do whatever. And we would get the vine swing. You could swing out and grab this tree and ride it down. I don't know if that's a southern thing, but that's what we used to do. And I said, oh, the girls had never been there. Most time girls didn't come in the woods with us. It was mostly the guys hanging out. So I said, bring the girls down here. I'm going to have my Indiana Jones hat on. Might even wear my Indiana Jones shirt that I had. Will have my machete. I went everywhere with my machete. I've talked about it before. And I'm going to swing and look cool. I'm going to swing out, and she's going to be like, oh my God, this guy is the real life Indiana Jones. So they showed up, and of course all the guys, like a magnet, and went to the new foreign exchange student. I mean, everybody was crazy about this girl. And I thought, okay, well, I'll sit here and talk to the other girl. I was like, I don't know what I was. I didn't have any games. I don't know what I was saying. I was probably like, I heard you liked Indiana Jones. I was probably, I probably said something stupid, I'm sure. But we got the vine. Just a couple other guys swung out and everything. But I said, I got to make this thing look good. I can't just swing on a vine like everybody else did. The girls were impressed. They were like, oh, well, that's too far. I'm going to fall. I'm not going to do it. Well, I said, I'm going to let the vine swing out with no one on it. That way it stops right in the middle of the big, the big area where you couldn't reach it. A lot of times when we first got there, we would have to find a long stick to reach out and pull the vine back over so we could swing across. Well, I let it go. First, Wooten was like, hey, what are you doing? It took us forever to get that. And I said, no, I'm going to run at full speed, jump toward the creek side, grab hold of that vine. My power of hitting that vine is going to swing me to the other side, grab that tree, slide it down, be a hero. The girls are going to love me. So the vine was right there. I let it sit there and really slow. All the guys were over there talking to the foreign girl. I was telling the Samantha girl, I was like, yeah, I do this every day. This ain't nothing. I was trying to, psych myself up and trying to look cool. I was like, this ain't nothing, man. I swung on vines from here to Timbuktu or something. I don't know what I was. I'm sure if I had a time machine, I went back to hear what I was saying. I'm sure it was something horrible. And honestly, now looking back, I can kind of tell she was like, oh, yeah. She wasn't paying me no attention. I'm sure she was probably off in her own little world trying, who is this dork? So we had it kind of went down a slope like this. So I put my Indiana Jones hat on. Here I am, Indiana Jones hat. So I started running as fast as I could. And I ain't gonna lie to you, it was pretty darn scary. We had a part of the area we used to run and jump the creek area too, and I would always chicken out about 4 or 5 times, but I knew I couldn't chicken out. This girl was watching me. In fact, they were all watching me. Even if the girl that I had the crush on at the time didn't like me, you had the foreign exchange girl that everybody liked. I couldn't look stupid in front of her eyes either. And I couldn't look in front of I just couldn't. So I ran at full speed. And I really didn't have a problem thinking I would jump. I could make the jump. And to make the jump, I could know. I've seen it done before. I knew I could have stand with no jump. And so I jumped out. Whew. Now you think this is the part where I fall into the creek and bust my ass? No, not yet. No. I jump out, grab the vine. I feel it reach around my hand. I can feel that wood in my hand. I got it. Everybody only saw the back of me, but I got it. I felt the vine start to swing out with the power of me on it. The wind blew my hat off into the creek. It went. Ruined it probably. And probably about 3 seconds after I grabbed that vine, I heard snap. That vine could hold us swinging across the creek. But yanking on it like that with I don't know what we weighed, whatever we weighed back then, that was just too much. It broke out of the tree. I fell down into the creek, into the water, into the rocks. Talk about the most humiliating climb up ever. I remember my friend Wooten looking down. He was laughing. I remember hearing the foreign exchange student laughing. I don't know if the girl I had a crush on was laughing or not, but I know a lot of people were laughing, and then finally we was like, "You okay down there?" And I was out of breath. I was trying my best not to cry. I was holding back tears. It hurt. I was landing on rocks. I was all wet. My hat, I landed on top of my hat. Not only did I drop my hat, I landed on top of it. It was crushed. It was wet. And I had to climb back up. Should have just climbed on the other side and ran home and never went back to school, but climbed up. Climbed back up there, and I couldn't talk to her then. I saw her with the foreign exchange student. They were talking, probably laughing at me, I don't know. But, and everybody was mad at me. I broke the vine, so we had to find something else to do. And I went home because I was wet. I was like, I'm going to go change clothes. So I went, as they say, with my tail between my legs, wandered off into the woods back to my house. I don't know what happened. And thank God this was a Friday, because it would have been bad to go to school and people still talking about it. But the weekend passed, and I know during that week my friend Wooten was like, "Hey, let's ride up there and see that girl." And I was like, "No, I think I'm going to stay." I didn't tell anyone I had a crush on the other girl, but everybody thought I just had a crush on the foreign exchange student like everyone else. And I said, "No, I'm going to lay low for a while." And they was like, "Oh, don't worry about it." Anyway, Monday came. I was like, "Oh, God, this is going to be embarrassing." So I saw the girls passing, in the hall and everything. Tried not to make eye contact. We didn't really make eye contact. She didn't say hey to me. I didn't say hey to her. And I was happy about that. I said, I just feel too stupid. I feel too stupid. Well, lunchtime came. We were all hanging out at lunch. We didn't really eat lunch. We just kind of all hung out and talked with each other and everything. And that's when my friend said, and my friend Wooten was like, "Let's go talk to him." And I was like, "Okay, I'm going to have to face her. I'm going to have to face this, Go ahead. They're going to laugh at me, whatever, get it over with." So he went over there and he started talking to the foreign exchange student, the girl standing there. And he was talking about, "Hey, it's too bad we can't do the vine anymore. That's a lot of fun to hang out in that little area right there, swing across the creek and everything." And then the girl with the blonde hair that I had the crush on, she was like, well, why can't we do that anymore? Why can't we go back in the woods and swing on the vine? And I was still kind of standing not far back, kind of back, so I wouldn't be right there in their face like everybody else. And I remember Wooten, my friend, said, "Well, the vine broke." And the girls, the Samantha, the young girl that I liked, she was like, "What happened to the vine? What happened to the vine? What? She had amnesia or something?" So Wooten told her, he said, you remember Junk Kid over there? He ran and jumped the vine. We all told him not to run out there, and he ran and jumped on it and broke off and fell off into the creek and everything. Got hurt and broke the vine. The vine's gone. We can't ever use it again. And she thought for a second. She's like, oh yeah, I remember that. Who was that kid? Who was that kid? She asked, who was that kid? I've been going to her house at least 2 times a day for a month. Who was that kid? And that's when Wooten said, it was Junk Kid over here. Junk Kid. And she looked over at him. She said, "Oh, I didn't know he went to school with us." And she was like, "Hey, I'm Samantha, and this is blah, 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 blah." Story of my life. Here's a girl I had a crush on, going to her house about every 2 weeks, trying to talk to her while her other friends getting all the attention, trying to make her feel good, trying to make her laugh, make her like me. And at the end of the day, she didn't even know when to school there. Saw her at school every day. Guess I didn't leave much of an impression. I guess not. But honestly, after hearing that, I never went back to her house again. Never hung out with her again. And in fact, I don't even know what happened to this girl. I don't even remember. I just remember her, the foreign exchange, just kind of disappeared one day. It was like they were there one day at the school, and then a couple months later, they were gone. I don't know what happened. And I can't remember her name. I can't remember much about her. I just remember this one event here. I can tell you where she lived. I can get in a car right now and show you the house she lived in. It's odd how I can remember that day. I can remember going to her house. I don't know what happened to him. But it's just, here I am thinking I'm impressing somebody, making myself look good, building myself up, trying not to get in that friend zone, trying to skirt in between the friend zone and the, hey, I'm hanging out with you. They're giving this girl all the attention, don't you know? Because, probably this age, she was probably a little bit, was like, why she's getting all the attention? What about me? And I was giving her some of the attention. But it comes time out. Apparently, I wouldn't give her attention. No, she didn't even know who I was. She didn't even remember that. It was just like I talked to her and just gone out of her head. She didn't realize it was the same guy. I don't know how. I looked the same. Not like I looked totally different out of school than I did in school. But again, not another story that ends with a happy ending or anything. I thought about this today. I don't know what it was in my head today. I don't know why. And I thought I'll share it with you guys. I don't know if you guys like it. Now, some of you guys like my story, some of you don't. But that's the story of the time I tried to impress the girl with the foreign exchange student, and none of them even remembered who I was. Whew, how embarrassing is that?
Hey, Junkman channel popping though.
Thank you, sir, for that unsolicited testimony.